morning, Prep 3. We will start Algebra and Statistics. Unit 2, Lesson 4, Continuate Proportion. What is the meaning of continuate proportion? The quantities A, B, and C are said to be in continuate proportion if A over B equal B over C. Again, A over B equal B over C. In this proportion, A is called the first proportion, C is called the third proportion, and B is called the middle proportion or proportional mean. Proportional mean. Again, A, B, and C are said to be in continuate proportion if A over B equal B over C. A is called the first proportion, C is called the third proportion, and B is called the middle proportion. For example, the numbers 4, 6, and 9 form a continuate proportion because 4 over 6 equals 6 over 9, or 6 square equals 4 times 9. The product of extremes equals the product of means. 6 square equals 36, 4 by 9 equals 36. 4 is called the first proportional, 6 is called the middle, and 9 is called the third. We notice that if A, B, and C are called or are in continuate proportion, then B square equals AC. B square of middle proportional equal the product of the first and the third. Then B equal positive or negative, a square root of the product of AC, the first times the third. And the two quantities A and C should be either both positive or both negative. For any two positive numbers or any two negative numbers, X and Y, there are two middle proportionals. Two middle proportional. A square root of xy and negative square root of xy. There are two middle proportions. Okay? Remark, very, very important. If A, B, C, and D are called or are in continuate proportion, we assume that A over B equal B over C equals C over D equals constant equals M, where M is a constant not equal 0. Then C equals DM, C equals DM, number 1, and B equals what? B equals CM, where C equals DM equals DM times M equals DM square, number 2, and A equals BM, and BM equals DM square, DM square times M equals DM to the power 3. Okay, if A over B equal B over C equals C over D equals M, then C equals DM, B equals DM square, and A equals DM to the power 3. Very, very important. If A, B, C, and D is continuate proportional, then A equals C equals DM, B equals DM square, A equals DM to the power 3. For example, choose the correct answer. The third proportion of the two numbers 9 and negative 12 is what? At first, the third proportion of the two numbers 9 and negative 12 Okay? Nine, the first over the second equals negative 12 over x. X is called the third proportion. Then x equals negative 12 times negative 12 over 9 equals 144 over 9 equals 16. Then the third proportion is 16. Another example, the middle proportion of the two numbers 4 and 36. Very, very important. The middle proportion of the two numbers 4 and 36 is what? B squared equals AC. B squared equals first 4 times 36. B squared equals 144. Then B equals positive or negative square root of 14, or 144 equals positive or negative 12. Positive or negative 12. Example number 3, if A, B, C, and D are in continuous proportion, prove that A square plus B square plus C square over B square plus C square plus D square equals AC over BD. At first, A over B equals B over C equals C over D equals M. Then C equals DM, assume C equals DM, B equals DM to the power 2, and A equals DM to the power 3. And by substituting C, B, and A in left side, A square plus B square plus C square over B square plus C square plus D square equals A square equals what? A equals dm to the power 3. dm to the power 3 square equals d to the power 2 m to the power 6 plus b square equals what? B equals dm to the power 2. dm to the power 2 square d square m to the power 4 plus c square equals c equals dm, then c square equals d square m square over b square equals d square m to the power 4 plus c square equals d square m square plus d square equals d square. Okay, equals left side equals by taking h dot c dot f between them d square m square equals m to the power 4 plus m to the power 2 plus 1, and also take d square highest common factor between them equals m to the power 4 plus m to the power 2 plus 1. Cancel this with m to the power 4 plus m to the power 2 plus 1, and d to the power 2 with d to the power 2 equals m square. Number 1. Number 2, right side. Right side equals what? AC over BD. A equals dm to the power 3 times C equals dm over B equals dm to the power 2 times D equals d by d equals d square m to the power 3 times m to the power 4 over d m to the power 2 times d times d equal d square m to the power 2 and cancel d to the power 2 with d to the power 2 m to the power 4 divided by m to the power 2 equals m to the power 2. Number 2. From 1 and 2, then left side equal right side. Then left side equals right side. Do you understand? Yes. Thanks for listening and have a nice day.